Is up, movie viewers? Dena Movie Views and Reviews here. Today I am asking, what you watching? Well, let me tell you. Today I am watching Matrix 4 Resurrections, and it is starring Keanu Reeves as the one, Neo, Thomas Anderson, Carrie Ann Moss as Trinity or Tiffany, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Morpheus, Jonathan Groff as Smith, Jessica Henwick as Bugs, and Neil Patrick Harris as the analyst. Mmm, this movie has been in the works for a while and I have been anticipating it. It was directed by Lana Wachowski, and the movie had a $190 million budget. High expectations. It is the fourth installment of The Matrix, and I can say I was excited to learn that there was going to be a part four. All of the what is and can this be and what happened. I was definitely a fan of the movie and the message that it delivered. So I was thrilled to see how a Matrix 4 would deliver. Based upon the influence of the previous trilogy, oh, I was excited. But I really did not expect it to attain the same nobility that the original and the second and third installment did. Those movies were good. I mean, the second and third really was impressive compared to the first. I prefer the first. It was the best one. But this fourth installment seemed to offer or answer more of the questions that the other ones left after the big battle. So, in Matrix Resurrections, it is clear that the world has changed dramatically. And Neo is a famous video game designer in this so-called reality. He created a game that is called The Matrix to much acclaim. Now he is working for a big company, and he is referred to once again as Thomas Anderson. He is dealing with dreams that seem too real to be true, and he is finding it very difficult to distinguish between reality and what is make-believe, or the dreams that he keeps having, or memories perhaps. And because of this confusion, he is seeing a therapist to help him to deal with this. His dreams are so overwhelming that he found himself, because of a dream where he could fly, he leapt off of a building. So they took it as if in a suicide attempt. And that is pretty much where it picks up. So it is that the matrix he lived and was a part of, now to him, Neo or Mr. Anderson, is told to be just part of a video game. That's what's amazing. And he designed this video game. It's kind of freaky when you first start watching it, like, what? But he has partnered with Jonathan Groff, who is his partner in this so-called company that creates these games, and he wants him to design a new Matrix. Even though he clearly doesn't want to, because it confuses him and it makes it difficult for him once again to separate fantasy from reality. So Neo is, in this movie, he is made to believe that everything that he has lived and experienced has been part of a game and it never happened. That he is simply delusional and must continue to take his meds and see his therapist, who is Neil Patrick Harris, to help him keep a grasp on what is reality. But this therapist, Neil Patrick Harris, is not all. He's not all he appears to be. I don't want to give away all of the movie, but for those who haven't seen it. But eventually, Neo, with the help of new characters, he realized he is indeed Neo, and he's that Neo that's in his video game. and that what he dreams about is really a memory. And eventually it is revealed that it has been 60 years since he and Trinity sacrificed themselves. They went to the machine in an attempt to save Zion. So he learns it's been actually 60 years. He gets to the point where he understands who he is, and his thing is he wants to know who's tricking him. And this world that they're in is so absolutely confusing. And he sees Trinity at this coffee shop as they show in the commercial, but she doesn't recognize him. And his objective is to get Trinity to recognize him so she could free her mind and her body. Why? Because she's hooked back into the Matrix again. Spoiler. And she doesn't know who she really is. But in this movie, Trinity is called Tiffany. And now she is happily married with 2 children. But Neo knows he must free her. And when their hands touch, they feel something. It's like a spark. They can't quite put their hand on it, but it made them question their reality. This movie did not live up to my expectations at all, I must say. But sequels don't tend to do that anyway. They don't tend to live up to the original movie. That's something you learn to accept over time. But in my opinion, it lacked the originality of the previous ones. I really did not like all the old movie scenes playing throughout the movie. It was a distraction for me. I hated seeing that. It kind of felt like an 80s or a 90s video being made. It almost made it feel cheap. I don't think that part was well thought out. I was trying to follow along with it, but I wasn't feeling that. I understand trying to get him to reflect by showing past footage, but it seems like the writer or director or whoever just needed some space in the movie to kill time. That's just my opinion, but I didn't like that. And that Morpheus character, nope, he was just not a good fit for that role. And honestly, that whole Morpheus character just did not fit. It didn't make much sense to me. And I kept saying, what is he? Is he a machine, a humanoid, a robot, a program? I just wasn't clear on what he was or if he was even needed at that point. Why is he being hooked in? Is he not a machine already? It just left me with too many questions, because in some scenes only part of his body was even there. I just did not like that particular actor for this role, nor did I like his performance overall, his presence on the screen in comparison to the real Morpheus. It just did not parlay the discipline, the wisdom, or the strength that the real Morpheus displayed to me. I just wasn't feeling that character at all. It would have been better if they would have brought back Lawrence Fishburne. He did a wonderful job with that part in that role. He just really delivered a believable character, a strong, authoritative character that made us believe in Neo. I still say they should have written Fishburne into this movie. I don't know why they didn't ask him back, but I really liked his character, his presence on the screen, and what his character ultimately represented. Now, I have to admit, I like seeing some of those old characters. The little girl, seeing her grown into a woman, but the French guy, he was hilarious as before. And he was still angry at Neo and insulting him in that language that he speaks. I think he's a Frenchman, so he was still talking like that. And I don't know exactly what he was saying, but it was clear he was still pissed at Neo. It was quite funny to me. There were a lot of fighting scenes and the romance. I like the romance, but ultimately, I think it was kind of lost in translation. The objective of the storyline, it was just not making much sense to me. It didn't answer any of my questions, nor did it resolve the questions or what the basis of the Matrix was. I have to give this movie 1 star. Yep, you heard me, 1 star. I felt it lacked the real drama. That connection just was not there that pulled me into the previous Matrix movies. And it just made me wonder, once again, what is the Matrix now? Has it been redefined? How do you get out of the Matrix? Or how do you fight or avoid the machines? It lacked that real drama, and I guess the conclusion. It didn't come to a real conclusion. The costumes were decent. It was clear that they were in a studio for much of the scenes. It was very clear that they were in a studio of sort. Now, I love the love scene, and the chemistry with Neo and Trinity was there. However, I really felt the writer's creativity was lacking. They didn't utilize it enough. Come on. This is just my opinion. I don't feel that they made it connect and make it feel seamlessly. It just seemed to be all over the place to me. And then, I don't want to give too much away, but the Smith actually saving Neo, and I don't know, perhaps this was the intent of the storyteller. I just don't know. But I do not like the way it left me with the same old questions that I had before I watched the movie. Now, like I said, I don't want to give away the entire movie, but after watching, I just had the same questions. Like, was it really necessary for Neo and Trinity to be plugged right back into the Matrix? And their efforts to have a solution for peace with the machines to end the war, was it in vain? Did they renege or trick them from the start? And who is actually running the Matrix now? Can you really free yourself from the Matrix? And then, why is Trinity flying and not Neo? Is she the one? And if so, was the Oracle lying somewhere? Those are a lot of questions. Conceivably, it might have been a good idea for the writer to include new characters that represented Neo and Trinity, because they're getting up in age, and I cannot foresee a lot more of these with those particular people, Reeves and Moss, as they are the original characters. But nonetheless, it will be interesting to see what or if there will be another Matrix, or just a total redo of the whole thing. But I guess we'll have to all stay tuned to see. Once again, Matrix Resurrection, or it's directed by the Wachowskis, Lana Wachowski, and it is rated R. And if you would like to check this movie out, you can, because it is playing on HBO Max, and it is still playing in some local theaters. Now, this has been your girl, Dena. More views and reviews. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Like, share, and comment. But most of all, I want you to remember, it's my view. Now, what you watching?